Welcome to the Gals Guide podcast. Join us on an adventure to get to know famous and infamous women from around the world. Each of our presenters has a pick. Is she ancient history? Is she breaking news? Is she safe for work? Well, that's up to each presenter. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I'm Katie, and I'm joined by Riwu, Cassie, and Bonnie sharing our Scandinavian gal pick. Bonnie already talked about Vigdis Finnbogadottir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Pretty good.
Riwu talked about Eva Akebald.
Yeah.
And Cassie talked about Bork.
Amazing.
I feel like I did that one the worst out of all of them.
It's like a...
You were so confident of like, I've got this. I know this.
Here's Bork.
Could be a verb.
But before I tell you who I picked
Yes.
to introduce to you all tonight,
Dun, 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 dun,
I
dun.
would like to know what your favorite Scandinavian foods are. Pick me something beige and white to
Yes.
eat.
I will do that with abundance, Katie.
Okay.
I give you
Just
the
bread.
smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord.
Oh.
That's just a great name.
It is. It's one of my favorite things. Right now we say charcuterie board most of the time, but I'm sorry. The Swedes had the smorgasbord, which is
I thought
food.
smorgasbord was like their word for buffet.
It is kind of, but it's
Okay.
like meats, cheeses, crackers.
Okay.
It is kind of that grazing table of the
Okay.
charcuterieness, but there is more fish, like lots of
Okay.
variety of different fish. And
Okay.
lingonberries. Lingonberries is one of my favorite. It's like a cranberry, but you hate lingonberries, don't you?
I don't know if I hate them, but they just make me think of dingleberries.
Well, there's also
I'm
dingleberries.
so immature. So anytime everybody talks about it, they're like,
Berries. They're available at IKEA, and I highly recommend.
I don't know anybody that's mastered IKEA the way that you have,
Love IKEA.
and you and your family the way you utilize IKEA.
Yes.
I hate IKEA so hard.
It works my brain perfectly. I can always help. I can be your IKEA assistant.
Frightens me. I've never finished a trip at IKEA and felt good.
I was there this week, and it was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Got a rush.
Exactly.
That
I
is
did. I ate at the bistro. It was
screwed up.
delicious. Loved
We're
it.
trying to save money, so we're not allowed to go to IKEA right
Yeah, I mean, that is fair. But I needed more plastic containers for our closet because we bought a lot of Halloween witch stuff, and I needed more storage. So therefore, I
Well,
went to
where
IKEA.
else do you go for storage?
Exactly.
They are known for it.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you at all.
This
We're
is
saving
true.
up for another calyx.
Yes! Got to get those Calexes.
We need
The
a
library's
three-bedroom.
Billy's, but yes. We're talking about shelving, by the way. These
Yes.
are Billy's behind me.
The cubes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Calyxes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Katie's
Cool,
head's gonna
guys.
For the board games.
Cool,
Katie's over us. What's
I
your
mean,
favorite
maybe it's just cool to
Scandinavian?
buy new furniture and not
Just
have
get
to have somebody
Scandinavian
else's furniture
furniture.
in your house.
And assemble it yourself? Yeah.
Oh,
That's
But
not fun.
anyway, moving on.
like
Food. Yes.
a lot of couples want to like fight over building the IKEA furniture. Trey and I get to we fight
It's
over who gets to
foreplay.
build it.
Yes.
Foreplay. Oh my
I
God.
like it. It's a great way to build a relationship. I'm just
Or
saying.
break.
Let's leave it open.
Leave it open.
What about you, Cass?
I would definitely
Favorite.
go along with the smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord.
Just because I feel like snacky, picnicky food is my favorite way to dine anyway. So, I mean, I would love to see some fish on a smorgasbord or a charcuterie board here in the U.S. So, sign me up.
Salty goodness.
Salty goodness. I do tend to go more savory than sweet. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I enjoy sweets. But I definitely, if someone made me pick for the rest of my life, I'd go more savory. So bring it on.
Totally fair.
Yep.
Well, first of all, dining in Iceland, in
Yeah.
Reykjavik, extremely expensive.
Yeah.
But boy, do they put a lot of thought and care in what they make.
Yeah.
Everything is mindful and beautiful and well presented. Every restaurant had multiple vegan items with like all the accoutrements instead of just as an afterthought. So
Right.
very cool. Now this
Intentional.
is not vegan at all.
Yes,
But
yes.
the first time we went, my aunt cooked for us at their apartment there in Iceland. And to start with, we had a few little things out, but my favorite was the Icelandic smoked salmon.
Yes.
And what they do is they take little toasts and you butter it up, just get the butter on there. It's okay if it's thick.
Nice.
yeah.
Yes. More
and
the
then put
barrier.
your piece of smoked salmon on it and eat it as like
Oh
this.
man, I would love that
So
so,
good.
much.
And my second favorite thing, and I feel like it's how we should all eat all winter long.
Yeah.
If we live next to the sea,
Sure.
because their fish is so fresh.
Close to Michigan.
But you can go to like the fish shop basically because
Yeah.
you're not buying a bunch of steaks
Right,
in
yeah.
Iceland.
Fair.
And they have different kinds of fish already in marinades.
Oh.
And you can pick one. And then at the
Yeah.
grocery stores, they sell these like teeny cute round potatoes that have been like already peeled. And they've already been like seasoned with some butter and stuff. And you can just boil those guys up. Or maybe they're not already seasoned, but like it's just,
Right.
Yes.
just potatoes and fish.
Yeah, right?
good
Sounds
stuff.
wonderful.
Two perfect fresh things. Bon, what about you? Did you have one? There?
I have not had any Scandinavian
Okay.
food.
All right, gotcha.
And I'm
You were
not a big
Googling, though.
fan of fish.
Oh,
but I
shit.
did a quick Google.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how to pronounce this thing.
Let me see.
Payet panana?
Yeah, no, I don't know that one.
I don't know.
Poutine?
But it's hash made from
Yeah, hash.
diced meats, potatoes, and onions, all fried together and often topped with an egg.
Oh,
Sounds
what?
like a
Corned beef hash type
like
of
a
thing?
scramble kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's like a poutine.
Sounds like a winner.
Pretty
Yeah.
pretty tasty.
I'll take some of that. Exactly. But Katie, who do you have for us?
Wow.
You get to finish up the
Because-
year and the month.
Oh my gosh, all the pressure.
No,
And I'm
Yeah.
not working from my usual printed notes.
What?
I'm using my laptop, so this could get weird, guys.
Okay, we got this. I believe
However, I'm going to torture you guys because I do this frequently,
I like
and I
it.
love to do it.
in you. Sweet, yes.
I'm going to throw out my gal's name, and
Okay.
I want to know if it hits any brains
Okay,
around this table.
got it.
Baroness Karen Christenze von Blixen.
No, nothing. I got Blixen as in, is she a reindeer?
That's Vix. Yep.
Is she one?
Karen Blixen.
Karen Blixen. Okay.
Or Karen Blixen.
Clear Blixen.
I was making it sound more sin.
right.
It's Blixen.
Oh, no, I have no idea.
Okay.
Bonnie, do you know? Any guesses?
Have a hint.
Right.
Well, I got another name for you guys.
Okay, yeah,
You
yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
How about Isaac Denson?
Almost sounds like it's supposed to be familiar.
Hansel and Gretel. No.
Okay, guys, because
Not even
I
close.
didn't recognize any of these names either.
Bjork?
But the third,
I know, right?
Is it Bjork? Wait a second.
the third name I have for you guys.
Okay.
Well, the third hint I'm giving you guys
Okay, yeah.
is going to be the moment where you're all like, yes.
Sweet.
You promise?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Well, maybe not you. You're young.
I know.
Out of Africa.
Oh, is it the Meryl Streep's character from Out of Africa?
Exactly.
Oh,
ding, ding,
look
ding,
at,
ding.
wait, was it Meryl Streep? Crap.
It was Meryl Streep.
It was Meryl Streep. Oh, thank God.
And Robert Redford.
You got me. I did not know.
You don't know Out of Africa?
I don't. I'm going to be honest.
You don't
here.
either, Bonnie?
I
You
thought she was
youngin'.
British. I thought she was a British lady that wanted to
She
go
was
hang
saying
out with the animals.
Out of Africa, going into my brain was coming to America. And I was
No.
like, wait, no.
Different. That's Eddie Murphy.
When you said that, I was like, this can't be a Toto reference.
You missed the rains down in Africa?
And I did not say it out loud.
the 1980s, I think it was at least nominated if it did not win
It
some
won
Academy
7
Awards.
Academy Awards. It was
Wow.
nominated for 11.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
Ribu and I are talking about
Yes.
a movie.
A movie.
I
Yes.
thought with Meryl Streep Academy Awards.
Yes.
You may have known that. And the movie is made based on the book
Yeah.
written by Karen Blixen.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
The book.
She had several pen names during her life.
Okay.
And Out of Africa was actually published under Isaac Denson
Oh.
here in America.
Okay.
She
All right,
actually
gotcha.
picked kind of a different pen name for every country where she released her books.
Oh, wow.
Neat.
Like,
Why not?
let's try that one here.
Why not?
Yeah.
She was definitely at the point in her life where she was needing some funds to come from book selling.
Fair.
I think it was still a passion, but she wasn't in a position to like not make money off of
Yes.
her books by then. However, I'll start back in the way backs.
Yes,
And
yes.
it kind of really is because she was born in 1885
Oh, goodness.
in
Oh.
Yeah.
Denmark.
Oh, she's Denmarkian. That's not a thing.
Danish. Right? No, I'm asking Danish, right?
That
Danish
is what
and
I've
Denmark,
heard.
they go
Yes.
together, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good thing.
Countries are hard. But no, you got it. Yes.
I mean, they're hard for us here in America. I'm
Right.
not going to go all poopy on America, but
It gets hard.
I feel like other European countries and other countries know more about one another than, you know.
Right. Sometimes being neighbors, I think, helps.
we're
This
pretty-
is true. This is true. I will
Pretty
say that.
isolated over here. So.
Yes.
Right. I mean, when you have a $60 plane ride to go explore another country, I mean, you explore more countries.
Yeah, for real.
Here, it's a $500
Even get a
if you're
$60
lucky.
flight to anywhere.
Yeah.
not even Louisville. It probably cost me $60 in gas to get there.
Or your luggage.
Carry on. Carry on for life.
So she was born in 1885, and she was born to both of her parents were wealthy.
Okay. Makes sense.
So her dad was a bit of an explorer, and he was a writer. And I feel like a lot of the gals we talk about, unfortunately, the reason we do all of this is we don't know that much history about them.
Right.
But I feel like with Karen's background, we can kind of see how it shaped the person she became.
Oh, very nice.
Because her dad really encouraged her to be a free spirit, to be out in the wilderness. He was a big hunter.
Yeah.
He wrote a book about hunting that became like a classic in Denmark for a few years or forever. I don't know.
Right. Somewhere in between.
Something like that.
I dig it. I got it. Yes.
So she came by that interest in storytelling from her father, and also, I think, a desire for adventure.
Yeah.
Her dad, in his 20s, spent a year in the United States in Wisconsin.
Oh, gotcha.
Living with indigenous people and trapping furs.
Oh, there you go. She was, or he was with Daniel Boone, maybe? Right. Yeah. Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, it was before she was born. So before that 1885 date. But, and while he was there, he fathered a child with a Native American woman.
Really? Interesting.
So somewhere here in the United States, there might be somebody from Karen's lineage.
Oh.
Like a half-sibling type
Dad.
dealio. But then he met Karen's mom, and they had 3 children together. But when he was in the Americas, he got the syphilis.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, that was kind of a bit rampant then.
Did he go the crazy then from the syphilis?
Well, I've read a few different things about him.
Okay.
One was that, well, first of all, he killed himself when she was 9.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
terrible.
which could have been the syphilis does make you go crazy. So,
Right.
yeah.
And I had heard on one thing I watched that he killed himself because he didn't want to go crazy. He kind of knew what his future was going to be.
Fair.
Wikipedia says that he cheated on his wife again, and he had promised his mother-in-law he would never cheat on her. So then he killed himself. And I kind of feel like that might be a cautionary tale
Right.
authored by somebody
Who wanted to make him
wanting to
look
encourage
noble.
fidelity.
Sure. Right.
Or, you know, like,
Yeah.
if you tell your mother-in-law you won't do it and then you do it, you're going to be so sad that you take your own life.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
so
I can see it.
ashamed.
Mhm.
Yes.
Possible.
So after he passed, Karen's life changed a lot
Yeah.
and got a bit more strict because then she was under more her mom's supervision.
Right.
And it was either her mom's aunt or her mom's sister moved in with them. And Karen got along with her really well. In fact, they would have talks about feminist talks and issues. And it was that aunt that educated her. Because she learned at home until she was a bit older. And then when she was older, she did go out to a few different schools. They kind of gave me a finishing school vibe.
Yeah.
But at those, I think she realized how much she also loves art. So she actually went to art school for a few years. And did some pretty pictures
There you go.
during that time.
Yeah.
And then by then she was like mid to late 20s and thinking about settling down.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of freedom and power and wealth to be able to like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go try all the things. And she
Yeah.
traveled extensively during that time. But then she decided to get married. And I'm scrolling down, guys, because I want to
There you go.
tell you her husband's name. I know we don't really care about that here, but I really kind of thought it was...
It sometimes helps tell a fuller story, especially if his name is silly.
Well, the thing I really liked is she went to Sweden to visit some of her father's family.
Yeah.
And while she was there, she met her twin cousins, like second cousins. And she fell in love with the dashing equestrian baron Hans.
Hans.
However,
His brother was Franz?
Hans,
Sorry. Anyway, yes.
that would be
Hans.
beautiful,
Yes!
but no.
Hans.
However, Hans did not reciprocate her affections.
Damn you, Hans.
So, since she still wanted to get married and he had an identical twin,
Yes,
No.
Franz.
she so did. Yep. So she decided to accept the favors of his twin brother, Baron Borg.
Baron
Brori. I don't know.
Yeah,
they probably
Baron
say it out of Africa, and
Sure.
Boring.
I should have prepped by watching that. It's been
Or like the Borg from Star Trek.
Bark.
Resistance is futile.
Thank you.
So this part of the story I don't get.
Okay, yeah.
But apparently they weren't able to settle in Denmark or were having difficulties.
Okay.
So her uncle, their uncle.
Right, sorry, that's right,
It
because
makes
they're
it easier,
related.
doesn't it? Their uncle.
It doesn't really make it easier in a lot of other ways.
Their uncle
Yeah.
suggested they go to Kenya and start a coffee farm.
Okay. That seems a little farther.
It's a nice
Find
suggestion.
yourself a Scandinavian country to live in. Try Africa.
Why not? Weather's similar.
There was some real colonialism going down at the time, so really,
Yeah.
it's the place to be.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
sure. Opportunity, I guess.
So he gave them the money to start this farm.
Nice.
And in 1913, her husband left for Kenya. Well, at the time, he was her fiance.
Okay.
Yes.
And soon after, Karen followed him to Kenya, and they wed just right shortly after her arrival there.
So he is Robert Redford then?
no.
Thank you.
He
Okay.
is not
Okay.
Robert Redford.
It has been since 1982
Yes.
since I've seen this movie.
Right? Not 82. It came out in 85.
85. Okay, sorry.
Being a
Yes,
drama
exactly.
queen.
I do love Robert Redford though, so
He's
I am
so handsome.
I am ready for this. Yes.
We can rewatch
Delicious.
it. It might be worth it.
think
Isn't
so.
that the movie with the bathtub scene where he washes her hair?
Yes.
That was one of the reasons I finally decided to go with Karen, because I have that scene
There
in my
you go.
head too
That is
often.
so
the best-
intimate.
It's not
Right?
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. There was
No,
also a bathtub
Bonnie.
in that one though.
Will you search it up for me?
Bathtub scene,
Out
Robert
of
Redford.
Africa, bathtub scene.
You do
Wait,
not
that
have
could
to
get sexy.
You don't have to safe search it.
Yeah, it wasn't too. Anyway.
But yes, exactly. I mean, all Robert Redford is good Robert Redford.
So if we haven't totally put together the story,
right, sorry.
this Out of Africa that she wrote,
Yes!
yeah,
There we go.
It was Out of Africa.
It is
There
Out of
he is,
Africa.
suds
Good
of
job.
her hair.
Yes.
Wow, that's a
Hot,
hot
right?
still
Hot
from the
still.
movie.
They still got their clothes on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's outside, and I think it's a PG-related movie.
Yeah, it wasn't too.
Boring.
But it still gets
I'm
steamy,
sure
though.
in real life they are naked.
Yeah,
Whoa.
probably. Exactly.
Because, yes, as I was trying to get out,
Yes.
this Out of Africa was based on kind of autobiographical.
Okay.
She didn't even change names.
Oh, nice.
It's all in there.
Sweet.
Yes.
I like it.
Although I feel like most of the people in her life I won't
Okay,
spoil, but
okay,
let's just
okay.
say there are probably not a lot of people around who could protest what she wrote.
Oh, dun dun.
But anyway, as you can imagine, life in Africa was not the super easiest for them.
Especially not at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of a rich man's playground.
Sure.
A rich white man's playground
Yeah.
in Kenya at
Colonizers.
those days.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard in that aspect.
Yeah.
But in making what they were trying to do come to fruition, it was hard. 'cause
farm.
Their land was
Yeah.
not good for coffee growing.
Yeah.
There were some issues. Her husband, shortly after they got married, started cheating on her. And
These
he would
men.
also, right?
These cousins.
These cousins.
He would also,
Kissing
Killing
cousins.
themselves.
Gross kissing cousins. Jeez.
he would also go on these month-long safari trips where he would guide other men who came to want to go on safari.
Right.
So he was gone much of the time, and Karen was trying to run their coffee farm,
Right.
kind of single-handedly.
Gotcha.
Yes. And during this time, I mean, this is a cool period to be born in because first, during that time was World War I,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
some fighting happened in East Africa.
Yes.
So she was involved with getting supplies. Her husband and her eventual lover, Dennis. But
Yes.
It's spelled with a Y, so it's sexy, not unsexy.
Right. You're right. Totally different than that menace, the Dennis.
Right,
Dennis
right.
the
It's like
Menace, yeah.
DENYS.
Wow.
Very foreign, very hot.
Exactly.
And I'll show you guys later. I kept his picture in my little
the real
article I
life.
wrote of the
Yeah.
real life one because
Oh.
he is hot.
Really? He's
Oh, yeah, he's hot,
They
guys.
actually cast correctly then
They
with
did.
the
It
Robert
was-
Redford hot to the
Yeah,
okay.
it's pretty on par.
Oh, the only thing they could have done better, in my opinion, Peter O'Toole. Sorry, right around this time period, Peter O'Toole, I still have that problem.
Right.
But I'll take a Robert Redford. Go ahead.
So, shocker,
Right.
shocker,
Yeah.
their marriage did not last.
No.
I think the final straw for Karen was when her husband gave her syphilis.
Oh!
That
It's with men.
syphilis.
Syphilis. Damn it. Every
no.
time.
She actually really struggled with this.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah,
had to go
sucks.
back to Denmark for a year so she could get like proper treatment
Yeah.
and recover, and then come back to the farm to be able to run it because she was just like physically depleted.
Yeah.
I'm sure
it can kill
emotionally
you.
too.
Yeah.
With all of this. And back in the day, they used to treat syphilis with like heavy metals.
Mercury.
So she was getting
Mercury
doses
poisoning.
of mercury. She also had other illnesses that they were treating with arsenic. So she had quite the combo in her system.
Yeah.
And she recovered enough to go back to Africa, but really the rest of her life she was plagued with health issues.
Yeah, as you would be. Yeah.
Right?
Goodness gracious.
Thanks
Yeah.
for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went back to Africa, and it was then that she was started spending a little more time with Dennis.
Dennis.
And Dennis was very much like a free spirit, like, let's not label it, baby.
That's exactly what he said, right?
She dug it, right? He was like, nobody owns us. We're free. And I think that was one of the things she loved about being in Africa. And that's why I said you could kind of see in her upbringing the influence of her parents. Because I
Right.
think she felt, again, like she did with her father when she had the freedom to run around and be in nature.
Right.
And her Out of Africa book gets a lot of praise for its beautiful descriptions of the scenery in Africa.
Gotcha.
More recently, there's been some feedback. Well, not feedback, but there's been some. I read some things that said that maybe she did not treat
Africans?
Africans.
Right, exactly.
Like
right. The Kenyans?
the Kenyans, especially her workers and servants. The way
Yeah.
she wrote about them in the book was maybe not great.
Romanticized for the book and probably a little in person. Yeah.
and
I mean, she's a colonizer after all.
Yeah, and I think
We can't deny that.
Right, exactly. Yes.
In Out of Africa, they make her, I think, like, she starts a school and she does whatever for
To
the
give
Kenyans.
back to the community.
And I think she did do some of that, but like her narrative of the people of Africa was questionable.
Right.
But-
There was an othering that was happening.
Yeah, I
basically.
believe
Yeah,
so.
there it is.
Yeah. Right. But Dennis ended up moving in with her.
Oh, sweet.
And they... Well, of course, she divorced her husband.
Okay.
I skipped over that because whatever, that dude...
Right. It's syphilis. He's running off. He's never
done.
home.
He's
Exactly.
done.
Yeah, fair.
But, I did hear some reports that she didn't want the divorce originally.
Gotcha. It's a lot of paperwork.
We all have...
Sure.
I don't know, but the divorce happened.
I wouldn't want to
and-
be divorced. I would want to be a widow.
Right. Oh, shit. I see what you did there.
Dark body.
Problem solved.
The syphilis will take him eventually. Oh.
Yes. So, Dennis did travel a lot and was back and forth. But they had a really, I think, passionate love between them. But he also had a mistress.
Oh my gosh.
What
is
is
with
going
dudes?
on?
I mean, after a while, you start to wonder, is it you?
Right?
But I think it's just dudes. Oh,
That's
my
why he doesn't want
goodness.
to put a label on it.
Right. Yeah, let's not label it because I want to keep it open
Keep it
for
cash.
her and her and her.
So I wouldn't say it was like the fairy tale perfect, but
Sure.
she
Yeah.
definitely loved him dearly. And in March 1931, he left for one of his hunting trips and crashed his biplane and died.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I figured it wasn't a love story for the ages for all time, for a momentary time. Yeah.
It was for a time. But yes, he passed away, and she buried him in the hills a little bit from their house that they used to spend time in, where she said she would want to be buried if she lived her whole life in Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah. End of
Gotcha.
their tale and the end of her farm, because it was really
Yeah.
tanking.
Oh.
She
Yeah.
was out of money, and she had to go back to Denmark and live with her mother and depended upon her family for her upkeep the rest of her life.
Gotcha. There you go. Was she still writing after that?
She did. That's really where it took off.
Then the
She
writing,
had
yeah.
done some writing before, but when she moved back to Denmark, and I think it was like I need something to do. I need
Yes.
an outlet.
Right about this
even I
time
need
I
to make
spent-
some money.
Yeah.
And she first wrote 7 Gothic tales, which was actually popular in the United States. It was written in English first, but that got her some kickback from the Danish people that are like, what the hell? You're Danish. Why are you writing
Right.
books for America.
Right, because the check's cash. That's
Right.
why.
So all of her other books, she did write in Danish, but usually the Danish and the English would come out kind of at the same time.
Right,
So
okay.
she was really writing them in both.
Right. Both streams of money.
Right. Her biggest book, of course, was Out of Africa.
Sweet.
She actually wrote, that was her autobiography, and then she wrote one novel, and the rest of her writings were more short stories.
Oh, okay.
But she, for 3 times, made the Book of the Month Club,
Okay.
which Wikipedia has that all blue, but I didn't click on it, so I don't know what I mean, like, I get the concept
Yes.
of the Book of the Month, but I
Yeah.
don't know, like, where it was from, who it was supported by.
Right.
But apparently it was a big deal, and it really made her
exactly.
books take
There's like
off.
the Reader's Digest book of the month,
Maybe
but then
that's-
there's also an
I don't know.
official book of the month, like subscription company sort of thing. So, yes. But also the short stories, she could have sold them to magazines.
Yeah.
So that could have been a reason for short stories of a money stream at that
And
time.
she
You can send
didn't
it
do
to
any magazines. I mean,
Oh,
that would
okay.
have
Yeah.
made a lot of sense. But she
Yeah.
tended to work. She would work on these short stories, like for this anthology idea, that one, this one, that one.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
So she did end up publishing a few anthologies, and even after her death, even more works came out because she had so much hodgepodge here and there,
Stockpile.
and different stuff she was thinking about.
Neat.
She also lived through World War II and was said to
Yeah.
have helped smuggle Jewish people out of Germany.
Nice. Look at that.
One of her
Let's go.
books has been interpreted as an allegory of Nazism. Not a flattering allegory.
Oh, look at that. A warning. Don't do this again. America.
It was called The Angelic Avengers.
Ooh. Okay.
It
Yeah.
too made the book club of the month.
Ah, sweet.
But during this time, she really was still struggling with her health.
Yeah.
She was able to make it one time only to the United States in 1959.
Okay.
And she was able to meet with a bunch of who we consider big time famous authors like Pearl Buck and E.E. Cummings.
Ooh.
She dined with Gloria Vanderbilt.
Of course, the
Aw.
Vanderbilts.
And she asked to meet Marilyn Monroe.
Ah.
And Carson McCullers
Okay.
introduced her to Marilyn Monroe and Arthur Miller.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So she had quite the trip.
Nice.
However, she was also ill during this trip, and she was reported that she was frail and was only weighed 63 pounds.
Oh,
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Yeah. Falling apart.
So
Oofa.
she returned to work, even with her failing health. However, she was. I was trying to remember what she was doing. So, she was having a lot of abdominal pain.
Right.
And it turns out she
didn't have the uterus cancer or anything like that. Because I'm
No.
thinking of like Henrietta Lacks, who also had the syphilis and.
unfortunately not. Like,
Okay.
really reading between the lines, it sounds like she was anorexic
Oh, okay.
and was taking things to force herself to, like, I want to say purge, but like have diarrhea. So she was like,
Gotcha.
and wouldn't drink and consume, barely ate.
Right.
And that those things combined with how her syphilis was
Yeah.
treating really
Yeah.
exasperated everything. Gave her an ulcer that she eventually had surgery for, and it was that surgery didn't go well, and she ended up dying in 1962 at her family's estate in Denmark.
Oh,
She
wow.
was 77.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
Still, I mean, she saw a lot in those 77 years. Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if you, there's a whole bunch of works that came out after she died, like I
Right.
said. One of them was Erhengard.
Okay.
I have no idea what it is, but apparently it was used to make like a limited series for Netflix in 2023.
That's what I was wondering. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
So I might have
Okay.
to check that one out, but
Yeah.
that's also based on one of her
Okay.
writings. Out of Africa won 7 Academy Awards.
Right, yep.
She also had a short story. I think it was like
Babette's Feast?
Yes.
Oh, that was made into a movie too.
Yes, and it came out the year after Out of Africa and also won an Academy Award. It was a foreign film
Yes.
and one for like a foreign film
Yeah.
acknowledgement.
Okay. Sweet.
So,
I remember that one. It didn't make a whole bunch of sense, but it's
but super incredible woman,
Yeah.
lived a lot of life in her years, for sure.
Exactly. And had way
some
too much
bad
syphilis
luck,
in it.
Some, yeah. some
soon.
good times, some bad times.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, her love dying in the plane crash, and even though her and her husband had divorced, I guess they were still on pretty good terms.
Gotcha.
And he remarried. He then died in a car crash.
Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
like I said, there weren't a lot of people to
Right.
question her autobiography, but
They were all dead from different transportation accidents.
that
Starting to smell like a
transportation
curse
back in the
or
day.
something.
It is a curse or mafia involvement. I don't like him. Make sure he end.
And I'm going to leave you guys
But I think a curse, yes.
with just a couple little fun facts about
Okay.
her.
Yes.
That could be a way for you guys, anybody listening that would want to learn more about her.
Yeah, go down rabbit holes, yes.
First of all, her family home has been made into a museum
Oh,
that you can go and see how she lived and learn
Nice.
about Karen.
nice.
And she has a museum in Kenya
Oh,
out of her old ranch house.
perfect.
It was held like an estate, and then it was when Kenya got its freedom, it was given to the Kenyan government by the Danish government as like a gift.
Right, of do with what you will, hopefully make it profitable of some kind. Yeah.
And so her original house still stands, but then there was also a subdivision that went in where her land was, because her farm was huge.
Right.
Huge, massive. And the subdivision is called Karen.
Oh,
So she has a subdivision
Of
named
Karens.
after her.
Okay.
Is the guy still like buried there?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's in the
I
hills.
wonder if they had to
I think
dig
it
him
was
up
a
to put
ways
in the
out.
subdivision, or
No. I think it was like a ways out, like a favorite spot that they had to. I don't know what they did back in the day.
Right, tucked away somewhere.
I was gonna say, did they drive there, sled there, fly
Right.
there? I don't know what
Exactly.
transport was happening there in Africa at the time, but yeah, I don't think it
Right.
was super close. And let's see. I don't know how to weave this one in, but it was just a really weird one that I liked.
Yeah, a little fun facty fun.
So she got a letter from the Danish king Christian X
Okay.
as a thank you for a lion skin that she had sent him.
Oh, all right.
nice.
There you go. Yeah, why not?
So one day she was inspecting her land and she found a young man from the Kikuyu tribe whose leg had been crushed under a felled tree.
Oh,
She didn't have any morphine with her because she did actually do a lot of nursing to the people in
Gotcha.
her estate that worked with her and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she didn't have anything to help him with his pain. So she decided to place the king's letter on the young man's chest and tell him the letter was from a king and will do away with all pain.
oh,
And it worked.
There you go. Mind over matter.
And from that day onward, the king's miracle working letter became part of her medicine stock. It was used so often that it gradually became, in Karen's words, brown and stiff with blood and matter of long ago.
Wow.
Okay, ew and aw.
Oh, and that's my favorite combo.
It's very sweet, but also gross.
Yeah. So no matter how what the tone of Out of Africa represented, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it unveiled some seated racism that she probably had.
Right.
I think she did care about the people in her world.
Yeah.
And
Tried to do the best
was
she could.
very in
Yeah.
love with Africa.
Yeah. There you go. A love letter to Africa.
Yes.
In her work. That is adorable.
What a life, though, eh?
That's crazy. Oh my goodness. We should all be so lucky on some of it.
I don't want some of what she ended up
Right.
having.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
We'll
The
avoid
all of it's a
syphilis
lot.
And transportation issues and
Right. The a massive amount of being cheated on as well. I will give that a hard pass.
Yeah.
Sweet. Did anybody have any questions for Katie?
Thank you for a
About-
great story.
You're welcome.
Very good.
That
one.
I love it. I love it.
This was a fun theme.
Yes.
I know, right? Exactly.
Very
It was a
fun.
good one to end
Yes.
on. So,
I feel like these
yeah.
Scandinavian women are pretty feisty.
Yeah,
and
they
I'm
are.
here for it.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like it. Well, do you want to wrap us up for the whole year, or do you want me to do it? You should wrap it up.
What
Do
an
the
honor.
do the final close for season 7.
Hey. Oh man, I get to give a teaser.
Yeah, you
don't
do.
I?
Yeah.
That wraps up season 7 of the Gals Guide podcast. 2024 has been a wonderful time exploring women of history. What will next year bring?
Dun dun dun.
Well, that's up to each gal, but we can tell you that we'll be entering our friendship era. We'll see you in January 2025. Until then, thanks for listening.
Want to learn about more women of history? Gals Guide opened a unique women's history lending library. Come visit and explore our collection. Learn more at galsguide.org. Thanks for listening.